Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Photographer Profile. My name is Nathan Rupert. I've been a San Diego photographer for over 18 years. Because social media is currently focused on videos such as Reels, I started this channel to give the photographers I've met a worldwide platform to share their work and stories. Please subscribe to the channel if you'd like to be notified right away when new episodes are uploaded, or if you just enjoy the content. So, my guest today is Simon. Simon, please just give us an introduction about yourself and your photography.
All right, my name is Simon. I am originally from the Bay Area. I'm living in San Diego now with Nathan, and I've been doing photography for about 10 years. I specialize in landscapes. Recently, I've been doing wedding photography as well. I've also worked on some advertising campaigns in the past, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this podcast.
And are you single, taken, is complicated? What's your status for those people wondering out
Single,
there?
ready to mingle. The DMs are open.
Awesome. And do you have any hobbies outside of photography that you enjoy?
I have all sorts of active hobbies. I love running, rock climbing, tennis, pickleball. I just joined an intramural soccer team. I should mention I'm a student at San Diego State University, although I am a full-time photographer. And
How is that going so far? The team?
the team, well, actually, we haven't played a single match yet. But to be honest, it's not going amazingly just because I'm terrible at soccer. I'm totally rusty. We haven't practiced at all. I heard the other teams are actually really good. I want to believe in us. I think we can get some wins out there, but I don't think we're going to be number one because I really don't play soccer too much. All those other hobbies I named are much better.
Is there any position on the team that you're going to try to do?
In the past, when I played like the center midfield, and I think I could still probably play that position. I got a lot of stamina, can run pretty fast.
Awesome. Well, how did you get into photography to begin with?
I was like 12, and my brother and I and my family, we went on a trip to Canada. He had a Nikon D3300, the same camera I ended up purchasing. I fell in love with it. We were over in Jasper National Park. He was showing me how to shoot manual. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, I got to try this out. So after my bar mitzvah, I'm Jewish, but as part of the bar mitzvah, your relative, everyone gives you gifts. Usually it's just money. I went and spent the money on my first camera. I bought a Nikon D3300. I ended up joining the photography club at my high school. By the time I was a junior in high school, I was starting to do it professionally. And then here we are today, another, I guess, 7 or 8 years later.
Do you consider yourself a professional? Like photography is your full-time job
Well,
or career?
it's not really full time. I am still like I'm a full time student, but it is a part time job. Like it's my primary income source.
What keeps you excited to go out there and shoot day after day?
I think what really gets me out there shooting is just trying out new things. Recently, I've broken into doing wedding photography. Just want to try some new stuff. I've been doing a lot more portraits in the past. I went and explored doing long exposures at night. I have some shots where I just like hold a light and run through the frame, and then you just see the light in the frame. So yeah, just trying out new stuff is really what keeps me inspired. And
You
also
mentioned
doing it with other people. I think collaborating with other people, traveling with other people is just really fun.
Yeah, we met up for a shoot by the
Yeah, I
beach
wanted
not too
to,
long ago.
I was like, all right, this guy's in my DMs. He wants me on his podcast. I want to just make sure he's cool first. So I invited him to go do a beach photography shoot over in
There's
Del
no
Mar.
sunset though. The clouds,
No, there
right?
was no sunset, but you know what? I actually went back a couple days later and I finally got some clouds. There were good clouds, but the whole lighting was kind of strange. I think I literally have been to this spot 10 times now. And I'm probably going to go back for an 11th time just because I want to get the perfect shot. When it comes to shooting nearby my house, like wherever I'm living at the moment, like when I was up in the Bay Area, but now in San Diego, I hold my landscape photos to a higher standard just because I know that I can come back to that spot again. I don't want the best shot that I can get when I go shoot. I want the best shot I can get ever. Like I'll go back to a spot like 10 times just to get the perfect sunset. I love the challenge. And also I'll run out of spots if I just go to all of them and take all the photos and call it a day.
And do you have a favorite place that you've traveled to so
I
far?
think I think the favorite place that I've ever traveled to is probably Japan. There was just so many awesome photography opportunities there. I was really only there for 4 days, but I got so many amazing photos. I went to Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. By the time I got to Osaka, though, I was completely dead. I didn't even take any photos there. I just napped for like 12 hours. The public transportation is amazing. It's easy to get around. Nobody really speaks English that well, but you can kind of get around without you can point at things and stuff. I definitely would recommend learning Japanese. I did practice a little bit beforehand, but honestly, I should have practiced more. I also forgot to mention that trip I took when I was 18 years old, and I went by myself. It was like my first solo trip. I'd saved up money throughout all of high school, and I went to Japan, I went to Hong Kong and Australia, and I went on like this crazy month-long trip. It was really exciting, and not a lot of people get to do that when they're 18. It's a pretty eye-opening experience. I learned a lot of.
What is even the drinking age in Japan? Were you
I
even able
think
to
the
drink?
drinking age, I forget if it's 18 or 19, but I couldn't communicate with anybody. So I wasn't going to go into a bar. But you know what they do have is they have these vending machines on the street where you can buy beer. And I'm just buying beer from a vending machine one night. Just, had a nice sip. You're actually not supposed to consume food or drink in public anywhere, which I mistakenly did. I don't think
Oh, really?
nobody, they're also so polite that they won't tell you, they won't complain to you that you're doing it, but they will be judging you if you're drinking on the street or eating on the street.
I did not know that. And yeah, I saw those vending machines too, and they're in random places. I saw vending machines in random alleyways in these
Mhm.
really small, crazy urban areas. It's such an
You
it is an
know,
interesting place.
the United States, they leave up the zoning to individual cities and counties and even states. But in Japan, they have nationwide zoning. I forget how many zones it is, like 10 or 12 or something, where those are the categories of like zones. Most of the zones you can build like anything. So like you can build high rise, that type of stuff. But you can also put vending machines in like 10 out of the 12 zones. Anybody like has the right to put a vending machine. They don't need to get a permit or anything. And then also it's really safe. If you put a vending machine outside your business, it's not going to get vandalized like it might in America. That also goes back to like the point I made where like you're not supposed to eat on the street. The reason is because you're making a mess, right? And that's like the cleanest country in the world. Japan. Like
Yeah.
I literally did not see a single piece of litter the entire time I was in the country. And there was also no trash anywhere, which is like insane that there's no trash cans and there's no trash. But they take it pretty seriously.
That's why I did this podcast, is to hear these great stories of these
Hmm.
travels that we go on as photographers, right? Is there a piece of photography advice that you receive in your classes in high school or from a mentor or another photographer that you really take into heart that you think is valuable to share with everybody?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I haven't had much of a formal like photography education. I didn't take any photography courses or anything, but I did have had a few mentors throughout the year. I think a really important tip that I've heard from people who have been in the industry is to really focus on not getting burnt out. It's really easy to overwork yourself, get pretty stressful pretty fast. Focusing on what is actually important and what's actually really going to bring, at least from the professional side, what's actually going to bring like dollars into your pocket. There's so many different niches you can focus on in photography. You should pick like 2 or 3 of them and just really focus on those things.
That is great advice. How do you feel about AI in photography, the new buzzword the last couple of years?
It's frustrating because on social media, I'm seeing all this AI stuff. And a lot of the AI is like, it's meant to replicate like a landscape image, but they're just using the computer to create it. I saw this crazy video. It was like inspired by like the Rainbow Mountains in China, but it was definitely AI because I'd like never seen anything like it. They like expanded the whole landscape. It was like this crazy thing going on. I wish I could show it to you. Knowing that my work is then going to be put right next to works like that and the algorithms are going to be competing with each other, it's frustrating knowing that somebody can put in so much less effort and still reap the same reward. But on the other hand, I'm loving all the AI features. AI, all the stuff in Photoshop, Lightroom, Premiere, is all excellent. It makes life so much easier. You can put in like generative fill, so you can even like type in what you want it to be, turn words into images. This is a technology that we would have been dreaming of 10 years ago, but now it's like a reality. It cuts down on a lot of the most tedious parts of photography, especially the editing. The generative expand in Photoshop is a lifesaver. The sky selections tool that uses
Yeah.
AI, like it's all AI. You don't realize it necessarily. Some of it's more obvious, but they're using all sorts of AI, and it's making our lives as photographers much easier. It's enabling us to create work faster. So we are able to create work a little bit easier now, I guess, to compete with the other AI, which is maybe a little bit less creative.
Yeah, I've noticed the subject selection tool has gotten a lot better recently, being able to
That too, yeah.
highlight a single person and put them in a different layer has gotten a lot easier. Before, you had to like take the cursor and really try to go around that person very,
I mean,
very
I've
closely.
I've spent hundreds of hours just with the pen tool, like pixel by pixel, just selecting the sky or selecting the guy in the picture, like a tiny little silhouette.
And then next question, what do you want to happen to your photos when you die? I know you're super young, you probably not have this on your mind. Anything special, book or What do you want to happen to all these
When I
photos you've
die,
taken when you die?
jeez. I mean, I hope I'm not like forgotten, right? Like we still think about, we still talk about Ansel Adams and all that. Now there's just so many photographers, right? Like there's so much more competition. Back in the day, if you had a camera, like you were unique, right? Now everyone has camera in their pocket. So the uniqueness of my photos might not, I'm okay with the fact that I might die and not really be remembered after a couple generations. What I'd love to happen when I die is for lots of people to be still viewing my imagery, lots of physical prints to exist in the real world, people have in their homes. I would love to become like a collectible artist, honestly. That's kind of the depressing thing about artists is a lot of the time their artwork becomes valuable once they die,
Yeah,
but you may as well play into it. If I die, better
absolutely.
start trading my work around, making it really expensive. Some billionaire better come along, turn it into like a tax loophole or something. Like, I don't know.
So you sent me some of your photos ahead of time. Let's go ahead and take a look at them, and you can tell us some of the stories behind these photos.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Okay. Can you see that one? Let me see if I can
Yep.
scroll up here, zoom in a little bit. All right, that's pretty good. Go ahead and talk us through this photo.
This one was from one of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever witnessed in my life. This is over at Torrey Pines, on a bluff. Just went there with some of my friends and yeah, captured this photo. We got the Scripps Pier in the background there. It's a really nice area. You have any questions about it?
Is that you standing?
Yeah, so we had set up a tripod, and then I went over on the rock. To be honest, though, like I did Photoshop myself like a little bit closer to the edge, just because, like,
Yeah, it's a little dangerous.
realistically, these I've heard of like numerous people just like falling off of cliffs and stuff, like photographers. I met this one guy, who I played tennis against actually, but he was disabled. His legs didn't work because he was in Mexico on a similar cliff like this one, and it just like and so he ended up
Wow.
getting paralyzed from the waist down or something of the sort. Anyways, he was an excellent tennis player because he was still making me work. But yeah, I now I take myself a little bit more seriously. I used to stand a lot closer to the edge of cliffs, and now I'm like, all right, maybe my mom would appreciate it if I just photoshopped myself a little bit closer to the edge.
Is this HDR?
No, I don't really do any HDRs. It's definitely pretty heavily edited. I did do a little bit of stuff with the sky. Like if you can sort of see, there's almost two parts of the sky. There's like the upper part where there's the more like dotty clouds, and then there's the lower part where it's a little bit more. It's like got the horizontal lines
Right.
more. The part by the horizon is pretty accurate, but then the in between, I think I had filled in or somehow maybe used the AI tool or something of the sort. And then I also went through and did a Orton glow effect on this one, so it's pretty like glowy, not as sharp. For those of you guys who don't know, an Orton glow effect is a really useful tool. You have to do it in Photoshop. It's not something available in Lightroom. The way I would describe it is it allows you to create like more of a glowy, like almost like less clarity, but you still actually have the clarity of the image. I do a special trick with my Orton glow effect because it consists of blurring the image and then overlaying that on the image, but you basically kind of keep the sharpest parts of the image. That's how I've been doing it to sort of keep it a little bit more sharp. There's a lot more research you can do looking into the Orton glow effect, but I effectively create like a high pass filter. The areas that have the most detail end up getting kept. I use like a mask tool, essentially keeps the most detailed parts of the image and it overlays them on top of what I have created, which is a little bit more of a blurry image. You still keep the highest detailed parts of the image while making the rest of the image have this glowy, dreamy.
I have no clue how to do that. I'll have to Google a YouTube tutorial or something like that. I'm sure there's something out there that
There's so
explains
much to
that.
learn about it. And I actually have created a Photoshop action. So I just do one click and it's set up for the proper blur for the megapixels in my camera. I just press a button and it does it for me.
Awesome. Well, let's take a look at the next one here. This is one of my favorites. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit. Tell us about this location, this photo.
This is the Vessel. This is in New York City. Unfortunately, it is now kind of shut down. You can still book it for like private events and stuff, but it used to be the case that you could just buy a ticket and go up it. Several people committed suicide off of it, unfortunately, and then they decided to shut it down. Kind of a bummer. But to be honest, if I was going to commit suicide, like this would be the spot. So I get it.
This is
I know it
definitely
sounds
out of the
crazy.
Matrix or something. This is out of the Matrix
It's
or
like, I
something.
don't. They spent like hundreds of millions of dollars to buy the metal. To you see like the sort of like gold kind of. I think it was maybe no, it wasn't copper because copper weathers, but they used some kind of special alloy or something. And they just used so much metal that it was like this excessive vanity project. They just spent so much money like renovating this area, and they put this insane like hundreds of millions of dollars sculpture in the middle, which people thought was kind of excessive when they could have been like, I don't know, building affordable housing or stuff. But anyways, I went up there, took the picture. I think it creates this really like interesting perspective. I made sure to shoot it on a wide angle lens just to get like as much distortion as possible and to capture the whole thing. Yeah.
I love how you got people at every single level. Every single level, you have people there.
Lots of people. There was tons of people there. I was actually able to repurpose this shot. You look in the caption there. This is actually a sponsored post here. I was able to work with MPB, which is a site that you can buy and sell used camera equipment on. I was actually able to monetize this and use it for a sponsored post.
Awesome. All right, let's go to the next one. This is amazing landscape shot.
This one it's frustrating because right after I took this picture, my drone broke. Like it almost didn't come back.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I was able to get it back. I had gone on a trip in the winter, met up with some of my friends from across Europe. We went on this awesome road trip through Germany, Switzerland, Italy. It was really cool. This is the Hohenzollern Castle. It has a really cool piece in history, which I don't want to regurgitate to you because I actually don't know all the specifics. But man, yeah, this was a really beautiful castle, and it was a really fun time to capture.
I did the castle. This is in Bavaria, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I did the castle tour in Bavaria when I went to Munich.
Oh, did you go to like Neuschwanstein as well?
Yeah, I went there.
That one was really pretty.
I want to get the same shot with that castle. I think I need to redo my trip now and get a drone to shoot these castles from the sky. I mean, this is a great.
They look really awesome with the drone. I don't know if you are familiar with on DJI. They have the like Earth, or what is it called? Basically, it takes like 50 different pictures. It's like the largest panorama that you can do. It takes panorama of basically everything that's on Earth and puts it into this little globe thing. I thought it was a fun thing to do with this image, but I don't actually have the image to show you guys. I'm sorry about that. But it's a cool feature that you can, if you have a DJI, one of the more advanced ones.
All right, let's go to the next one. Let me make sure I get the full centering effect here. Zoom out a little bit, maybe. Okay, tell us about this shot and location.
This one is actually from that trip that I mentioned where I went to Japan and Hong Kong. This one was taken in Hong Kong. This is just like in an apartment complex. Shout out my boy Elvis. He helped me. I guess it's trespassing, but I mean, all we really did was go past the front desk and take some pictures and then leave. Met up with Elvis and some other photographers, and he ended up taking me all around the city, which was fantastic because like I don't really speak Cantonese, and they also speak Mandarin. This was also before Hong Kong was sort of like completely taken over by China. I got a taste of seeing it while they were still like a democracy. It was a pretty fun experience. I thought it would look cool if I put a plane in the middle. This was when I was in my Photoshop era. The plane's fake. I'm sorry.
So you didn't wait hours then for this plane to go by.
No, I didn't wait hours for the plane to go by. I'm sorry. Even the sky is probably fake. I think I can already see from the image it was probably blown out in the photo. So I made it a little bit more blue.
We're revealing all the secrets on this podcast.
Yeah, sorry guys. Also, the building, not yellow. I made it warm. It was like an ugly brown, like white color. The lighting was not looking good. It was pretty heavily edited, I'm not gonna lie. But it came out awesome.
I know you're working more naturally these days, right? You're kind of over
Yeah, I'm trying not to do too many sky replacements and stuff like that. I just really want to challenge myself to do it correctly the first time. I'm gonna be honest, I still use Photoshop from time to time. Fake things here and there. A lot of the time it's just like a fake, like tiny person nowadays instead of a fake sky. Because honestly, sky replacements, they're really hard to do accurately. A lot of the time people will do them and they think they look good, but then like other people see it and they're like, no, this doesn't actually look good.
I mean, it's still a cool shot with this, this elevation, I guess, even with the plane and the sky replacement. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Okay, tell us about this shot here.
Speaking of photoshopping silhouettes, I did it. I'm sorry, guys. I lied to you. I was not standing there because I was actually
pretty close to the edge.
Photo. No, because what happened was These conditions I had been like chasing for years. I really wanted to get these conditions. And so when the light rays actually hit, there was like a 5-10 minute window where we were taking like tons of shots. I was there with my friend Nicole. She was taking lots of pictures of me, like more in front of like where I'm physically standing. So I didn't end up having the time to go over there and stand there, which was like the whole original purpose of the shot I was trying to get. I ended up photoshopping my silhouette in there. This one was taken over in Oregon. You can sort of see where the sun is shining in from. Right behind the silhouette is like another piece of land. So there's like a little bay in between those two. And but then as soon as you get to the shoreline, it gets pretty steep. It goes for like vertical. It goes up like, I don't know, 500,000 feet or something. The sun actually isn't able to shine down most of the time at sunrise because it's just so high. There's this river that goes through, and then there's like a little like a V where the river goes in, and then like right where my thumb is almost is like where the sun was rising. I calculated, I had used like software to determine what time of year was the most optimal for getting the sun closest to sunrise. And then I also had figured out which time of the year you're the most likely to get fog, because I needed a combination of some fog and also that sunrise coming in. I had just seen it like one time on somebody else's Instagram or something, and I like figured it out. I was like, I need to go back here and get these conditions because they're crazy. I mean, these light rays were like insane. I was mind blown at the time.
A lot of planning goes into your shots, I feel like.
Definitely. Besides like my solar eclipse shot, which we're going to get to next, I think this one has the most planning out of anything. I also did Firefall and shot the Manhattan Henge. Those both required a lot of planning, but it's not quite the same because everybody else has already figured it out. So you just kind of show up when other photographers have researched it. But this one I went out and actually researched for myself as a fun exercise.
That makes it a little easier when it's a really popular destination or a popular event and you don't know where to go. Just look for the crowds. Follow the. Okay. Let's go to the next one. That's this beautiful sunset.
Okay, so this is the one on my phone case. I took this one at Del Mar. Actually, not too far from where we met up to take photos. I really like this one. Just it has the two lone palm trees. It's kind of minimal, but really represents my style. I love shooting palm trees. I love this whole Southern California vibe. I love shooting sunsets. I love the beach. I felt like it really encapsulated everything. It was an awesome one to put on the phone cases. I worked with a company called Case Me in order to launch those phone cases. I know I could be selling my products. I don't know when this is going to be released. I think by the end of the month, they're going to no longer be on the shelf. But check it out, caseme.com. I get commissions.
Okay. And here is the eclipse shot you were talking about.
This one probably required the most planning because you got to figure out exactly where you are in the path of totality. People have created all these really excellent resources, though. There's this whole niche group of people who just go and chase like every single eclipse, and they create technology for it. They run experiments every eclipse. Like it's a really awesome experience because we just pulled up to a random parking lot at like a boat ramp in the middle of Arkansas in some tiny rural county, and there's just 100 people, and we all are here for the same reason. We're all like passionate about, just solar phenomenon. Everybody's brought different equipment. One guy has a special camera that like follows the sun as it goes. Wow. Another guy brought this, it's almost like a polarizing filter or like an ND filter like you would have on the glasses, but he brought a whole sheet on it. And then I was actually able to put it over my camera. And that was an interesting effect. This other guy brought almost like a cheese grater sort of situation. But what was interesting is when you saw the shadows coming through the holes, they were like shaped like little crescents because the sun was not shining in like a circular ball. So it was really interesting, just all people running all these sorts of experiments. I went over there to Arkansas with my friend Jackson. We were just driving for like 4 days straight. Like Arkansas is really far. I mean, you understand this? Like, and we just drove basically straight there. Like we didn't really stop. We were trading off. Like we put a mattress in the back. We just sleep. One of us would drive, the other would sleep. That was the whole way there because we had to get back pretty promptly because he had work and I forget what I had going on. We didn't plan on going to Arkansas. We were originally just going to go to like Texas because that was the closest place where we could see it. But then there ended up being clouds and we're like, let's just do it. Let's drive another 7 hours. We didn't come all this way for nothing. And then we went all the way to Arkansas. I captured this one with my 200 to 600 millimeters, and I wish I could go back and do it again, man, because there's really not a lot of these available. I think I really may only have the chance to shoot 2 or 3 more of these in my lifetime. And even this photo right here, I should have been more focused on getting this photo. So, because like there's the I forget what they call it, but there's this point of time which makes for a really cool photo where the sun comes out from behind the moon. The black part of the image in the center of the circle, that's like the moon, and then the sun is behind it. For like an hour or so, it's sort of just behind it. There's the point where it enters, you get this little like sort of light ray coming from the side. I wish that I could have taken this photo like literally just 1 second sooner, because you're now starting to see so much light come in. If I had taken it a second earlier, I could have gotten a little bit less light peeking around the side. So I would have
Yeah,
gotten like
rays.
light rays coming out of it. Also, I need to figure out a way to make my focus better. Everything was like slightly out of focus, which it looks great here, but when I'm zooming in Lightroom, like I see other people's shots. There's this one guy, his name is Astro Falls. He had done some amazing stuff. I think he had like, I don't even know exactly what he did. He like designed his own software to like process the photos and
Wow.
capture like different, I don't even really know exactly what he did, different wavelengths of light. But he came up with a photo that was so unbelievable and like had so much detail. It was showing off all the coronas and everything. It was beautiful. And then I saw some other images as well that were just a little bit more interesting. If I'm gonna go back and do it again, I'm gotta think outside the box. Gotta come up with something new, because
What were your final settings for the shot? This was at 600, and what were the other settings?
I don't even really remember, to be honest. I would have to actually look at Lightroom, just because the lighting is so weird for something like this. I definitely was shooting this at f/22.
Okay.
This was on my 200 to 600. I probably was shooting about 1,000 or 2,000 ISO, somewhere in that range. And then I was just set my shutter speed to whatever my camera had recommended. I do recommend, though, if you do go and watch the eclipse, you definitely want to like do an insane amount of research as to what settings you should use and just stick with.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let me stop sharing. All right, couple more questions and then we'll wrap things up here. Do you have a dream shot that you're trying?
I'm taking a lot of the shots that I want to, at least in the United States. I'm sure there's a dream shot I could think of outside of the country going forward. I want to do more wildlife
Interesting.
photography. And I would love to like shoot some bears or a lion, something like that. I really would love to go on a safari too, because you can see quite a lot of animals there. Wildlife photographers have this like special sense or something where they know in where to find these animals at. But I think if I just pay a little bit closer attention and just try to shoot more animals, I can create some really cool images there.
I shoot a lot at the zoo and the safari park, and it's all about studying their patterns of behavior to get the
Can you
best
go
shot.
there during the sunset or the sunrise? Because I tried that as well, but I wasn't super happy with my shots because they were.
Not really. I think the zoo or safari park closes at like 6 or 7
Mm,
maybe in the summer, and they both open, I want to say 8 or 9. But yeah, it's hard to get it at sunset or at
yeah,
sunrise.
but you're saying though there's recognizable patterns of behavior.
You see birds flying back and forth, the same pattern. You know where to focus your lens at. Bears or lions or tigers, they'll go in the same circles or they'll go to the same spots in their area. You kind of watch them for a little bit, understand their patterns. You can get better shots because you can anticipate when they're gonna take a yawn or go for that piece of food. I think that's a
No,
big
that
part
makes
in
sense.
animal photography.
I should really go check out the zoo actually, because I went to the safari park to try out some shots, but a lot of the stuff at the safari park you got to like take this tram, which you got to like wait in line, oftentimes for like an hour for. And then it takes you around. You see all the habitats, but it just takes you around really quick. So you don't get time to like check out different angles and get the animal when it's yawning or something. Going to the zoo might be good because they're actually in cages. But really, the San Diego Zoo is like spectacular. So anybody, if you ever come to San Diego and you're as a tourist, it's like really expensive, but it is definitely worth it. It really is the best zoo I've ever been to.
I've been at zoos all over the world. I went to the zoo in Barcelona. I've been to zoos in Australia. I've been to the National Zoo in DC, and I would say the San Diego Zoo is still one of the best ones in the world, from my opinion.
What is your favorite zoo you've ever been to?
I would say this the National Zoo in DC, ranks up there with the San Diego Zoo.
Oh,
I
I've
think they're
heard good
both great.
things.
The San Diego Zoo recently got a panda from China. It's going to be crazy
Hey,
busy there right now.
pandas are back.
They only loan them out for a certain amount of years, and then they have to return them back to China.
They have a contract with the Chinese where like you're not allowed to breed them. They're property of China because they want to maintain ownership of them. What ended up happening was we'd sent the pandas back to China because our lease was up. They kind of had used it as like political leverage, but then I don't know if Biden or somehow they negotiated. We got the pandas back as part of some deals. I'm happy. I like the pandas. They're cool.
Do you have any other crazy, wild stories from your worldwide travels that you've encountered?
Yeah. I do have one crazy subway story. I was on the subway with my one friend. We were in New York. It's not an easy mode, man. Like it is, it's a tough place. You got to be prepared for anything. I was sitting down on the chair. I was like really tired from walking around, and I was making my friend stand. I feel bad saying this now, but there's only one seat, and he was chill with it. He was just sitting there hanging on to the guardrail, and then this dude just comes up from behind him and just starts attacking him, like beating, just punching his back. It's like this like completely out of the blue. We have no idea why he did it. It was probably a homeless person. There's some construction workers on the train who were ready to fight this guy. At the next stop, everyone got off the train. The subway workers had told, like, yeah, that's whatever his name is. It's like, you know, this guy, he's doing all this stuff and he's still just roaming the streets. That's crazy. I don't know why this happens to me every time I go to New York. I still like have faith in New York as a place, but like it's the vibes that I personally experienced have been bad. Because another time, there was this other homeless person. We were over in Times Square. I was with my buddy Nathan, and there's this guy, he's talking crazy. We're kind of just ignoring him. We're like shooting the Times Square. I was trying to take a low angle shot, and this guy, he had a beer can or something. He just throws it on the ground right in front of me while I'm
really
towards the ground, and it goes everywhere. And I'm like, what the heck? And he just says sorry, and I'm like, what is going on right now? And I got the hell out of there. And then I meet back up with my buddy later. Apparently, this same dude spit in his face, just randomly, unprovoked. I think here's the thing: New York City, you gotta reopen one insane asylum, please. There's some people who should not be on the street. The first guy, we knew he was a recurring problem, right? Because the subway workers recognized him. The second guy, we knew he was a recurring problem because he basically assaulted me, but then actually really did assault my friend. Like moments later.
There are some really cool people on the New York subways. I've seen some amazing street performers on the subway.
Yeah, when they come on, it's showtime, baby. And the people of New York are awesome. There's so much diversity there. Everyone has like such diverse ways of thinking. I think it's a really awesome place. I would love to live there one day, despite all this craziness. You know, it's crazy, but like it's kind of part of the fun.
How is the best way for people to find you? Do you prefer Instagram? Do you have a website? What is the best way that you want people to contact you?
Definitely give me a follow on Instagram. My Instagram is UWO. If you want to follow me on TikTok as well, my TikTok username is Simon Timbers. If you want to check out my portfolio, my work, if you want to purchase a print, my website is simontimbers.com. And yeah, if you want to send me an email, simontimbers@gmail.com.
Any final thoughts? Thank you so much. I'm glad we got to meet in person. I appreciate you doing the podcast.
I really appreciated everything. I had an awesome time. Thank you, everyone, for watching as well, if you stayed till the end.
We'll go shoot again sometime, the sunset.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, thanks. Have a good night. Thanks, Sam.
All right, man. Have a good one.